Warning, this podcast may be disturbing to some listeners. Due to the graphic nature, listener discretion is advised. Welcome from wherever you are. This is the Demon Inside Podcast. I am your host, John Venom. If you would like to review another episode of the Demon Inside, you can go to Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and any podcast platform. You can also find us on YouTube and on our website, thedemoninside.transistor.fm. And please don't forget to subscribe and rate us with 5 stars. A new episode will come out once a week.
It was an unthinkable crime. A Baltimore father killed his 3-year-old son by throwing him off the Key Bridge. Steven Nelson pled guilty in the case, and today he was sentenced. I-Team reporter Barry Sims has been following this case. He joins us live from the Mitchell Courthouse with the very latest. Barry?
Well, we just left the courtroom and the courthouse just a few moments ago. Judge Charles Peters focused on the seriousness of the crime and the vulnerability of the victim. He says that he believes that Steven Nelson does remember what happened, but for Steven Nelson's own survival, he doesn't want to remember. He said that no one is to blame for this crime but Steven Nelson. Prosecutors requested and received a 50-year sentence for Steven Todd Nelson after arguing that throwing his son off the Key Bridge was a revenge killing. They said 3-year-old Turner Nelson wasn't the target, that Steven Nelson was angry with the child's mother, Natisha Johnson, who had left the relationship. In her victim impact statement, Johnson told the child's father what he did was unforgivable, cruel, and selfish. It was February 3rd, 2008, when Turner Nelson died. His body wasn't found until the spring. After tossing the boy off the bridge, the father attempted suicide by drinking a bathroom cleaner. According to court documents, Steven Nelson claimed he could not allow the boy's mother to raise their son with another man. Later, in a hospital, he said demons made him hurt his son. In court, one of Steven Nelson's sisters asked the judge for mercy, saying her brother doesn't deserve to spend the rest of his life in jail. Something went wrong, she said. The other said that he is not a monster, not vengeful, that he is hurting because this was his son. Now, in a letter read by Steven Nelson's attorney, he said to the judge he apologized for the pain that he caused and said that the question he could not answer is why. The judge says that he will recommend that a program be available, that he be sent to a program at the Patuxent Institute. Reporting live from downtown Baltimore, Barry Sims, WBAL-TV 11 News.
Hello, my Demon Insiders, and welcome back to the Demon Inside. I'm your host, John Venom, and today we are going to be talking about the Bridge Demon. Now, I know I always do shows on people, but on these next 4 cases, I didn't have a lot to talk about. So what I did was I went ahead and combined all 4, which is going to correlate with the John Johnchuk case. Now, if you remember, John Johnchuk was the man that threw his 5-year-old daughter off a bridge. This is the guy that drove onto the bridge when the police stopped him. He walked out with a Swedish Bible, walked back to his car after he told the police, "You have no free will." Then he grabbed his daughter and he threw her into the river off the bridge. So I started to follow the patterns, and the first one that I found was in February of 2008. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Steven Todd Nelson. Now, at the time of this, that it happened, and Steven Todd is the first one that I could find with the pattern that I've been looking for. But I'm going to try to talk about a little bit of what he was going through because that fits the pattern that I'm following. Now, before I do all that, I'm going to send some shout outs out. So I promised people that I would do some shout outs, and I owe a big apology to JR and his fiancée Tiffany because I had told JR I was going to put this out a while back, and I got caught up in life and I wasn't able to. So, and you guys, JR and Tiffany are my Demon Insiders group. They're the best couple I know. and they're going through some hard times. I'm not going to get into that, but if you could send prayers their way, they need it. Second, I'm going to send out a shout out to my friend Maya, who is a awesome woman, and her boyfriend Joey, who he's but still, I mean, they're good couple. But Maya told me that she liked my show, and I talked to her a little bit about spirituality. Now, the next person I'm going to send a shout out to is B, who's another friend of mine that I met through Threads. And B really didn't want me to send out her a shout out, but I'm doing it because I told her I wouldn't say the last name. So this is to B. So now that I made B her shout out, I'm going to give a shout out to her son, Sean. And Sean is a TikTok influencer, so I really would appreciate it if you go down at the bottom to the descriptions, hit Sean's link to TikTok so he can build up his followers and start getting that TikTok money, guys. Also, the last one, but not least, is Chloe. And to be honest with you, Chloe, I am so sorry, but I do not remember where the hell I met you. So here's a shout out to Chloe. And Chloe, if you want to get mad at me and you want me to send a shout out again, I will do that. Now, with all that being said, let's get back to the show. So Steven Nelson, at the time that he committed this crime, he was in Baltimore, Maryland, and he was 37 years old. And he has a 3-year-old son, and him and his girlfriend, which I believe was his girlfriend, but it was the son's mother, they were having a custody battle, and he was having a hard time with the custody, just like John Chuck was. And one day he goes and picks up his son from his mother-in-law's or ex-mother-in-law's place, and he drives off, goes to a bridge, and throws his 3-year-old son off of the bridge. Now, of course, his son dies, and in an interview that he did that I could not find, but also in the affidavit that I did find, the police report and the affidavit, he says that demons made him do it. Now, we've talked about different demons that make people do different things, but right now we're talking about this bridge demon that I told you. So what I started looking for was, it comes down to this pattern. It's a single dad who is fighting for custody of a child that he loves, who gets angry, and they end up throwing the child off the bridge. And also there is the element of religion, where he said that he saw that demons told him to do it, just like John Chuck with the Swedish Bible. Now, the other 3 guys, I really couldn't find anything about religion, and it's hard because I don't want to assume it. So for them, it's only the 4 pattern or the 4 connections that I could find. Now, of course, he was convicted, and he himself has said that he would never hurt his son. He still cannot believe it. He still thinks that they are lying to him, that his son is dead. And also, he has a lot of guilt towards the fact that he killed his own son. And that's what I told you about John Chuck, is that once they start realizing what they did, they have a very hard time believing that it happened. They have a very hard time accepting the fact that they killed their child. And they're going to have to live with that the rest of their life, if they live with that. Because the next guy, he tried to kill himself right away. So we're going to move on to this next one. And the next one is Arthur Philip Freeman. Now, this one was not in the United States. So I'm not real sure if this was part of a pattern. And the only reason that I'm throwing it in there is because it sounds very familiar to the other ones. And also, a lot of these guys, they threw their kids off during the middle of the day. It wasn't like they were doing it secretly at night. Most of them. I mean, there was a couple that did do it at 2 or 3 in the morning, like John Johnchuk, but for the most part, it was either early morning or in the afternoon. And we're talking about people driving across the bridge, seeing what's happening. With Arthur Philip Freeman, this happened on January 29th of 2009 at 9:15 a.m. It was a Thursday. And this happened in Melbourne, Australia, where he drove on the bridge and people saw him driving on the bridge, where he stopped and threw his 4-year-old daughter out of he picked her up out of the car and threw her off the bridge. Now, he also was having a custody battle. He was also angry. He was also a single father. He was also, he threw his daughter off the bridge. So these are the 4 connections that I'm telling you about. And the only problem that I had with it was so far away from the United States. But I decided to throw it in there because I found it kind of a coincidence. And you guys know me already. You know that I will not take lightly the coincidence, because I don't believe in coincidences. Now, here's another thing. He also, just like Stephen Todd Nelson, was 37 years old when he committed this crime. Now, the next one, and he did try to kill himself, but he survived. I don't know how he tried to kill himself. They don't say how. So now we get into another one that happened here in the States. And this was in November 21st of 2011. It was a Monday. I couldn't get the time, but I know it was in the afternoon. This was Arthur Morgan, and he was 29. Now, here's where I believe a demon has a sense of humor, because the first 2 were 37-year-old men. This one is named Arthur, just like the guy in Melbourne, Australia. That's another reason I picked that one. So you have 2 Arthurs who threw their kids off a bridge in order, and this happened in 2011. Now, Arthur Morgan was 29 years old, and this was in Freehold, New Jersey. And he was fighting through custody, just like I've been saying, and he was angry, and he was a single dad and all this, and he threw his 2-year-old daughter off the bridge. Now, he did it in a way that she was in her car seat. And, of course, she passed away. Okay, so the next person we're going to talk about is John Johnchuk, which we've already done. So if you don't remember John Johnchuk, go back a few episodes, listen to that one. And that happened January 8th, 2015. John Johnchuk at the time was 25, and this happened in Tampa, Florida. And his daughter was 5 years old, and he was going through the custody, and he got angry, and he threw her off the bridge. So now we're going to go to the next one, which is Tony Moreno.
What we're watching tonight, jury selection beginning today in the trial of Tony Moreno, the father accused of throwing his 7-month-old baby off the Aragoni Bridge. That baby was killed. Moreno jumped off the bridge but survived.
He's pleading not guilty to murder, and today some of the people who will decide his fate were chosen for that jury. News 8's Tina Detel was in court today.
Jury selection began in courtroom 3A here at Middletown Superior Court. Tony Moreno sat next to his attorney, Norm Pattis. His mother sat just a few rows behind him. Unlike his past court appearances, Tony Moreno wore a black suit for the first day of jury selection. One man who could not serve because of a scheduling conflict tells News 8 he would have wanted to sit on this jury. Moreno is charged with killing his 7-month-old son, Aiden, who police say he threw off the Aragoni Bridge in July 2015 before jumping himself. His attorney, Norm Pattis, says in this case, he is unable to talk about it outside of court.
I think it was a horrible, horrible tragedy for just the whole community. When I think of how a person could do that act, I really have to wonder what's going through their mind.
Text messages on the night Aiden died reveal a desperate and disturbing conversation between Moreno and Aiden's mother, Adrienne Oyola. She writes, "Seriously, don't play around like that. Please don't try and take him from me." Moreno responds, "You tried to take him away from me. You failed. I didn't. Enjoy your new life without us now." Minutes later, he texts, "He's dead, and soon I will be too." In November, tragedy struck again for Oyola when she and her mother lost everything in an apartment fire.
Oh, God, it's just, it's horrible. It is a horrible thing.
Janet Savage lives in the same apartment complex. Oyola has since moved. Oyola claims the state failed to protect her son. She tried to get an extension for a restraining order she had against Moreno. "I am afraid he is going to do something to my son." The family court judge denied the extension days before the boy's death.
I don't know if I could overcome something like that.
The evidence portion of this trial is scheduled to begin February 8th and is expected to continue through February 23rd. In Middletown, Tina Detel, News 8.
Now, Tony Moreno, this happened July 5th, 2015 on a Sunday, and this was on Super Bowl Sunday. He didn't watch the game. He wasn't at home with family. This guy goes and gets his daughter from the grandma of the child, picks him up, it was a little boy, 7-month-old. He was fighting for custody. This happened in Middleton, Connecticut, and he drives him to the bridge. He's angry. He tells his girlfriend, who was the mother of the child, that she will never see them again. And what he does is the same thing. He throws the child off the bridge. Now, he tries to commit suicide by throwing himself off the bridge. Of course, he survived, but the child didn't. So, this is what I'm talking about as far as patterns, guys. We keep seeing things that have so many different circumstances, so to speak, that are the same as some of these others. I mean, it's a trend. It's a, follow the leader here. None of these guys knew each other. None of these guys knew what the other was up to or how to do it or any of that. There's another one. And this happened on May 10th, 2025. This was last year.
Janice, you live at the Bronx Courthouse with our lead story tonight. Janice.
Well, Bill, we've been here at the courthouse all day now waiting for this arraignment to happen, and I was still in court just about a few minutes ago. I am told now he is being seen by a judge, and inside the courtroom for this appearance is his mother, Arias Williams's mother, as well as his stepfather. There's also another family member there as well. Now, the 20-year-old was arrested yesterday and is now charged with 2 counts each of second-degree murder and manslaughter in the death of his 2-year-old son, Montrell. Investigators allege Williams threw the toddler into the water at Garrison Park in Hunts Point about a month ago, which was the last time family members saw Montrell. Now, police started the search for him on Monday when Williams reportedly told this boy's 17-year-old mother that he threw their child into the river. Investigators soon uncovered surveillance video that reportedly showed Williams throwing a bag into the Bronx River shortly after leaving his mother's home a month ago. Family members are now trying to make sense of why and how this all happened.
Nobody expected this at all, because he loved his son, but I don't know what drove him to this.
He kept calling him Daddy. He trusted him. He trusted him. He took his life.
Well, I am getting updates from our colleague Sonia Rincon, who's in the courtroom right now, and she says so far the judge has issued an order of protection for the mother of the child. The defense has agreed to that as well. So, as I mentioned, he is charged with 2 counts each of second-degree murder and manslaughter. We're told it's 2 counts because the victim is under the age of 11. In the Melrose section of the Bronx, Gina Siu, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
So now the last one that I'm talking about is Arias Williams, who is 20 years old, and this happened May 10th of 2025 on a Saturday at 11:57 p.m. and this happened in New York, New York. Now he was fighting for custody with his wife for a 2-year-old son, and I'm going to read some of that investigation for you. So, according to the investigation, on May 10th of 2025. Arias came to his mother's home for a Mother's Day party. After getting into an argument with her, he allegedly got upset and left the home with his child.
What the fuck?
Members of his family tried to locate the toddler and attempted to confront Arias about the boy's whereabouts, but he never said what happened to the child. Approximately 2 hours and a half later, at his aunt's house, he shows up without the child. So police believe this is the time frame that he threw his child off of the bridge. Now, the mother started to call the police because she wanted to find out if her child was okay, and they started kind of doing this whole checking to see where he was at. And eventually they found out that the child had been killed by getting thrown off of the bridge. He also was on surveillance footage that shows him throwing the victim off. So, with all of that being said, and these are cases, like I said, I'm having a hard time finding them. Because as I told you before, sometimes these cases, the news media doesn't really pick it up because it's not as interesting as some of these other stories. Or what I believe, some of these demons are trying to make this stuff disappear. I have gone back after I have done research on cases to find certain stories that I read, and I cannot find them anymore. Are these demons going back and erasing any little bit of what they might believe will show them in the light that I've been trying to pull them into? This demon started in 2008 and has continued all the way up until last year. Now, as far as time goes, there is no set time. There is no set age as far as the fathers are, because as you heard, they went from 37 all the way down to 20 years old. So there is no age frame for this demon. All this demon needs is a single father who is fighting for custody, who loves his child so much and would never hurt his child, but then ends up throwing them off a bridge. These are circumstances that this demon creates so that he can finish the pattern that I found. I believe. So, what I believe is this demon needs certain set of circumstances to do what it does. And these fathers that love their kids so much end up giving into this demon because of the anger they have. When you have anger, you allow things in you because you're not in control of your feelings anymore. Anger is one of those things, one of those feelings that demons enjoy. Now, remember, guys, I've talked about this before. Everyone is responsible for the crimes that they commit. These fathers are responsible for the crimes they commit. I'm not giving anybody a pass on this. I just believe that in a temporary moment of anger, this demon played these fathers like a puppet and caused them to throw their child off of a bridge, because that's what this demon does. The next time this happens, if God willing, it won't, but the next time it happens, that means that this demon is continuing his pattern, and we need to figure out deeper how and when and where we can stop it. Because if we don't have the faith to stop ourselves from being a puppet, how are we supposed to be people that are responsible not just for ourselves, but for our children? Our kids need better from us. Our kids need to be loved, honored, and respected. And if you can't do that, allow somebody else to do that. All of these men were fighting for custody, but none of these guys took care of their kid at the end. They killed their kid, and now they have to live with that for the rest of their lives. Thanks a lot, guys, for listening. I'll talk to y'all next week. Be safe. Don't forget to subscribe to the Demon Inside podcast on any podcast platform. A new episode of the Demon Inside will be released every week. Let us know what you think of the episode on any of our social media platforms. If you have any questions or comments, go to the Demon Inside Podcast at gmail.com or click at the link below. We would love to hear from you. And to become a Demon Insider, go to the demoninsidepodcast.transistor.fm. We thank you for listening and hope you will join us next week for a new Demon Inside podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please tell your friends. I am John Venom, and I'll see you next time, if I don't get possessed. The Demon Inside was created and written by James Porter. It is a production of Venomous Entertainment. Background music is by Lucas King. And the title song, The Demon Inside, was produced by Rice Fulber. Music and lyrics by Peter Shelley. And performed by Conjure One. All the content on this podcast is strictly the opinion of the content creator and not the organization, its affiliates, or employees.